Hey y'all, what up? Welcome to Authentic Glow Coaching by Antasia Shabria Amore. So, all right. Now, spring 2026, okay? What is going on with the power of asking and not telling? Well, if you don't know, okay, I'm going to share. So, think about it, okay? When somebody is in your face and they keep telling you to do something, and you know in your heart of hearts that the thing that they asking you to do compromises a current situation that you find that you are in yourself. And they steady are aware of this. And yet they're in your face telling you something else. Anyway, how are my boss babes out there handling this? I'm going to tell you what I did. And follow suit, ladies. Okay, that's going to put you on. So, what you have to understand is, first off, immediately, it's not you. So, let's just start there. Whenever somebody's in your face telling you something and you giving off all kind of clues and cues that this ain't really that type of party, this ain't really that type of moment, this ain't really that type of idea for the way that you step into somebody that's kind of sort of beside you, and you feel as though you can just because they're close to you. Well, boo boo, I hate to disappoint you, but this ain't that type of party. So back it up, okay? Back your on up. Okay, we just got out of COVID, so go ahead on and run that little 6 feet on about your 2 working good feet. Okay, thank you. And try this again. So, people who act like that, like they just too good, so they don't even have to ask you. They just gonna tell you. Won't you go ahead on and do this then? Because, it's this many already here. And you just going to go ahead on and do these because you ain't doing nothing. First off, did you ask me if I wanted to do that? Even though it appears that I'm doing something else? Oh, I mean, yes or no? And we all know what to say. We all know which one is right. Okay? Because you know what's going on. And no, you didn't ask. But does that mean that what you asking is something that's not taking place anyway? No, of course it don't mean that. But you won't stop. You won't take the time out to ask and see. Because what? It's really no excuse. It's really not. So whenever you are in that moment, okay, and somebody is trying to get your attention by telling you to do something instead of asking if you're available or free to do something, take that type of behavior for what it is. A person who just clearly doesn't understand, and they probably have no inclination to as well. And when you get that type of person, that's really the most silliest. So my advice is to watch out for those type of entities, because it ain't no telling what they'll do if they're not even willing to ask you something that's appropriate and that's what's necessary and called for in that particular moment. That person is not really a team player. So I personally would be very, very careful with someone who I have noticed to have some kind of drama based off some of the things that they dealing with, because it doesn't take that much effort to just simply ask a person how they're doing or what it is that you can do to help them with what it is that your request is, because we can word it totally differently by simply having these wants
like necessarily, so to speak, prepared, okay? And then saying, hey, I have these, can we kind of sort of just squish this here? I'm gonna set it here. Did you mind us keep an eye on it right quick? I gotta run to the restroom right quick. That's one thing. But to just totally disregard what's going on and taking place, as though you're not doing nothing and your opinion doesn't matter necessarily, so to speak. And that's why I'm telling you and I'm asking you, that's the type of female you gonna want to smack across their face, because you are violently, okay, causing distress, undue disrespect, and that behavior is simply not okay. So they can throw a hissy fit if they want to, but that's not going to make you do something that you're unwilling to do just because they're telling you to do it. You know what I mean? So they can throw a hissy fit, hoot, scream, holler, jump up and down, throw stuff on the floor, have a tantrum. I mean, and let them go all out, okay? I mean, pluck their eyelashes or start beating on their head, their faces, screaming and yelling until their throat turns just totally raw. Let them do it all if that's what they feel is necessary to combat the issue of telling and not asking. If that's what it takes to have somebody understand that what you did was not okay, then that is what it takes. That's what we are willing to allow to happen so that we will no longer have to experience this same predicament again. And it's really just that simple. It's as simple as that. But flip the whole scenario and have somebody come up to you and really ask you something in a manner that you really felt was sincere and authentic. You will move mountains. It's no telling what is capable and possible when you actually are willing to ask somebody something in a sincere spirit, a smile, a real thought of warmth behind what it was that you asked. Whether it was for an extra scoop of ice cream, whether what you asked for depended around a certain Christmas gift. The things that we ask for is limitless, and God is able to allow us to express them all. I have yet to run across something that I feel as though God cannot do. Now, when I'm even just thinking about prayer and praying, and I'm asking myself, what is it that I feel really needs prayed for? What is something that's really in need of prayer? Is it our current government shutdown? Is that what our homeless people are experiencing? Why are they constantly as presented for the type of threats to our economy? What type of prayer does that look like? And I have to start there. That's the base of getting on your knees and feeling as though you're asking yourself what to pray for, and not necessarily telling yourself that this is the list of things that I expect as a prayer list moving forward. And you realize the differences between how you speak to yourself. If you're one of those people who really was hard on yourself, that totally was me. Because I'll get to a point and I'm like, I'm mad at the world, and I'm just like taking it out on myself. And what does that look like? That looks like how you tell and not necessarily ask for the things that are in need of a remedy, but you know that's what is called for in order to make you heal and feel better about anything that takes place within our own lives. So that's what it looks like. It looks like you becoming your BFF and not your own worst enemy or foe. There's a difference in how you speak to yourself. And I've learned this over the time that has took place as getting to know myself, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, however many years that the process takes. Then as you go through those years, you are out of that particular time frame wiser, because you took those moments that were needed to place those parts of you that are broken in the healing space. And that means that God has had what was necessary as a time frame to heal those parts, because you gave those parts to God to heal. And that was why You decided to become your BFF. That means you chose to begin to give yourself what? Self-love. Have you ever heard somebody and they're not even like asking you to give me more time? They're telling you to give me a minute. Not saying please or thank you. So what I have learned, because if that was you, I really feel bad for you, but try to be somebody else besides that particular type of person. What you can try to do instead of being like the Sashas or the Timothys of the world who feel as though you have to give me and that's just how it's going to go because I told you to do those things. Try a softer tone. Try a more pleasant aesthetic. Try simply going a different route. And if anybody wants to know, well, what's the particular route? Read the Route 60 memoir, okay? If you're still in doubt, read this particular memoir, okay? The Route 60 memoir, Riddle with Love, Sapphire, okay? And when you go through those moments, highlight the pieces where people have really showed a characteristic that you thought was something that you never see in this lifetime. And you're going to go through this book, and I want you to have as many highlights as you can possibly imagine and find as possible, okay? So give yourself the exact thing that you're telling somebody else to, because the giver knows that 'tis better to give things than to get, even when it comes to dealing with yourself. And I know people hate to hear that, but how many times have you wanted to kick yourself when you thought about how you just acted? Wow, I just told somebody else to get up out of my way so that I can be the person that's allowed to have been given the extra 10 minutes that I needed. Why didn't I just give the 10 minutes that I needed to myself? So now you in a moment of regret and prayer because you're so upset that you came across as a person that nobody wanted to be. So next time where you're tempted to say something of that nature, and please and thank you is not even in that same sentence. Realize that you're doing something to yourself and not the other person that you are putting that type of trajectory onto, okay? And once you hit that spot, just sit in that for a few seconds and then come out of that and feel wiser about yourself and how you choose to move forward. So how your behavior is considered as a conduction. Okay. So when we peel back those layers again, once more, and you give yourself 10 minutes. Okay. We're going to just say that you did that. You weren't even speaking to nobody else. You were speaking to you at this point in time. So, okay. I gave myself 10 minutes. You did? Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you. You're welcome. Period. Or you can say, man, I need 10 minutes, please. Okay, cool. You let 10 minutes go by. You pick back up where you left off at. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, great. But did you see how you asked for what you needed? And how the pleasantness of that experience was so much more positive than the one that was centered around the give me person. And as they say, give me that shot. Now, that's just the facts of life. That's just the reality of it. That's just the way that things go. It's not that you trying to be rude or mean. It's not that you feel like you know it all. It's not that you are put in a better circumstance than somebody else and it's their fault. It's not any of those things. The exact problem is something that was presented based off the way that you chose to carry yourself. Okay? It's really just that simple. People love to point the finger, point the blame. People admire always wanting to have something to say. They cannot feel no type of energy and they've allowed themselves to just get way too wrapped up into the saddest things in life. And when they are really trying to come out of those things, you realize that there's so many issues that you see, that when you just are in this spring moment and you're really trying to figure out your seasons that you're in, then you really are appreciative of those moments that you actually were like, oh wow, okay, that's something that was really cool. I'm glad that I did that. And that's the freshness and crisp moments of the spring season in 2026. You are so focused on that freshness, that renewal of our spirit out of those really dark months and moments. So when you really have given yourself something, you really have a sense of accomplishment. You really are aware of the whole fact that that was something that you needed, and you cared enough about yourself to make sure that you had those things. You place your self-sufficiency above actually asking somebody else for it. And that is ultimately an independent woman. That's a young lady or young man, a young person or main character energy who knows who they are, where they're going, where they've been, what they've endured, what they've been through, what it is that they're willing to tolerate, what it is that they're willing to seek, what it is that they're willing to accept, where it is that they're willing to be, where it is that they think that their lives are intended as a leading. So that's where it is that they go. Okay. So that type of energy is an embodiment of a personified spirit in a flesh form. That's all that God wants for his children. For, you know what? That's all that God wants for any of God's children. Is an abundant nature of a person that's lived positively, graciously, godlike, and godly. Above all else, that in and of itself is such a beautiful spirit to God. And as they say, wise children really actually make their parentals very happy. I have seen that people will have kids and they are just a complete ransacked hot mess all their lives, and their parents have really suffered. Their parents have really lived lives, and they have just been a complete replica of the foolish children as well. And that is how you know that something was amiss, askew, or is really done greatly. But the choice is yours.